Nigeria is the most powerful country in Africa, rich in oil, mineral resources and agriculture, yet it still depends on the foreign loans.
We are fighting through our country of banditry, kidnapping, harder farmer crisis, and insurgency. We are, however, making meaningful progress with the support of friends.
So how much is actually the Nigerian debt since from 1960 to 2026? Whether you like politics or not, don't click away, because in this video we will review all the presidents that governed Nigeria from 1960 to 2026, and we will see which president borrowed a lot of loans in his tenure. In 1960, when Nigeria became an independent country, it has zero debt. It was a debt-free and a clean financial country until 1970s to 1980s. During the military regime, that was when the country started borrowing a lot of money. At that time, Nigeria borrowed a lot of loans from inside the country, which is called the domestic loan, and also from big international group of lenders like the Paris Club. Nigeria spent these loans on three important things: fighting the Nigerian civil war, building infrastructure, and trying to fix the Nigerian economy, which was really a good thing. By the end of the military regime in 1999, the country was in debt of over 30 billion US dollar. Now in 1999, Nigeria elected its new democratic leader, President Olusegun Obasanjo. He ruled the country for 8 years, from 1999 to 2007. When Obasanjo came into office, Nigeria was in a massive debt of over 30 billion US dollar from the Paris Club. Instead of him to borrow another loan and pay them back, he made a clever strategy called the debt buyback, which means he had successfully negotiated with the Paris Club in 2005 to write off 18 billion US dollar out of the 30 billion loan. So Nigeria can only pay back 12 billion US dollar. That is 30 billion minus 18 billion, making it only 12 billion. The remaining 12 billion was completely cleared by the president. At that time, the money was sourced from the massive oil reserve the country has. Then in 2007, Obasanjo left the office, leaving Nigeria with pending loan of 2.4 trillion naira. But remember, it is a domestic loan, not a foreign loan. The foreign loan was cleared completely by him. After Obasanjo left the office, Umar Musa Yar'Adua won the election in 2007. He met Nigeria with pending loan of 2.4 trillion naira unpaid by Obasanjo. Umar Musa Yar'Adua maintained low external borrowing, but the domestic debt increased to 4.2 trillion naira. Let's do the maths. 2.4 trillion naira for Obasanjo plus 1.8 trillion naira for Umar Musa Yar'Adua. That made the total sum of 4.2 trillion naira debt. In 2010, Yar'Adua was very sick and passed away. Then Vice President Goodluck Jonathan finishes the tenure in 2011. Goodluck contested for his fresh tenure and won the presidency election in the same year. He met Nigeria with 4.2 debt left by Yar'Adua. Then he borrowed significant amount from World Bank and local loans to fund power, aviation and transportation infrastructure. He borrowed approximately 5.5 trillion from local loans and approximately 2.36 trillion from World Bank, what Obasanjo cleared in 2005, making it the total of 7.86 trillion loan borrowed by Jonathan. Other sources are saying 7.86 trillion, while others is saying 7.92 trillion. So I want to be very careful with the numbers. So I'm taking 7.86 trillion naira borrowed by Jonathan. And because there is pending loan of 4.2 trillion left by Yar'Adua, so let's add that with the Jonathan 7.86 trillion, making it the total debt of 12.06 trillion left by Jonathan. In 2015, Jonathan peacefully handed the government to President Muhammadu Buhari, who won the 2015 presidential election. Muhammadu Buhari came into office and met Nigeria with 12.06 trillion debt left by Jonathan. He borrowed 52.55 trillion to aggressively fund insecurity, fighting recession, COVID-19 pandemic, and maintaining the payroll through debt management office approved channel. He also borrowed additional 22.71 trillion using secret account from CBN to fund fuel subsidies and budgets. That made President Muhammadu Buhari alone to borrow 75.26 trillion naira. And because there is pending 12.06 trillion naira debt left by Goodluck Jonathan, that made President Muhammadu Buhari to leave Nigeria with pending loan of 87.26 trillion naira. In 2023, Bola Ahmed Tinubu won the presidential election. He met Nigeria with pending loan of 87.32 trillion naira. Instead of the president to help Nigeria clear the pending loan, which was massive, he borrowed additional 19.5 trillion naira from foreign lenders, what was eliminated by Obasanjo. That made the total of 106.91 trillion naira. That was not enough. Since Tinubu met Nigeria with 87.32 trillion naira, he failed to maintain dollar and naira exchanging value. During his regime, the dollar kept rising while the naira continued to lose its value. So the 87.32 trillion naira increased by 52.37 trillion naira, making him alone to add up a debt of 71.9 trillion naira. So currently the overall total of the Nigerian debt as of 2026 is approximately 159.22 trillion naira. This amount is too much. So out of these 5 reviewed presidents from 1960 to 2026, who is the most debt president? I will leave you to tell us in the comment section. Since this is a new channel, don't forget to subscribe. This will encourage us to produce more videos for you. I will see you in the next video.